You know, I mean, we're improving here. In terms of the sequels to the original 1993 classic, this is certainly a step in the right direction. Jurassic World came out 14 years after the abomination that was Jurassic Park 3. This was directed by Colin Trevaro, and it stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. And this movie basically sees John Hammond's original vision come to life. Jurassic World is a luxury resort located in Isla Nublar, providing a habitat for an array of genetically engineered dinosaurs. This includes the vicious and intelligent Indominus Rex, which Bryce Dallas Howard's character Claire explains is a new attraction for new and exciting things at the theme park. But the Indominus Rex escapes, of course, and it sets off a chain reaction. This, of course, causes the other dinosaurs to run amok all over the island. Now it's up to former Navy man and animal expert Owen, played by Chris Pratt, to use his special skills to save two young brothers and the rest of the tourists from an all-out prehistoric assault. Basically, with Jurassic in the title, you get exactly what you would expect. It's a gigantic dinosaur that is chasing a bunch of tourists around. And here's my thing with Jurassic World. This is a very polarizing film for a lot of people, but I have a lot of fond memories going to the movie theater shortly after I graduated high school to go and see this thing. And I just remember getting these goosebumps and shivers up and down my body just when the Universal logo popped up on the big screen. Because I was like, holy crap, I'm seeing a Jurassic Park movie in the theater. I never got a chance to do that. And for what it is, I think Jurassic World is a lot of fun. The theme park in general is a spectacle to behold. And seeing what John Hammond's original vision would have looked like is staggering. And obviously for 2015, this CGI is going to be through the roof. I can honestly sit here and argue that these are the best effects for any Jurassic Park movie so far, which is crazy considering that the 1993 film was so revolutionary. But this film does hold a bit of an advantage over that original classic because obviously technology has advanced and they put that to good use. All of these creatures look absolutely incredible. Even just watching it on my TV last night, really, really awesome. The Indominus Rex is such a neat creation, and it leads to some incredibly brutal and gruesome bloody kills. Probably some of the most brutal throughout the entire franchise. Keeping in mind that I still have not seen Jurassic World Dominion yet. But that one scene where Vincent D'Onofrio's character is just trapped in between his jaws and like, that kind of violence only adds to the intensity of the moment here. And I think Colin Trevaro does a really nice job directing this film. I think this is someone who really does understand the impact that this franchise had on people. And you can tell that this franchise had an impact on him. And that'll lead into some of my issues with Jurassic World, which we'll get to. But I honestly don't get all the big ol' hate for this film. I mean, some people might consider this a bland rehash and better yet, a bland legacy movie, as Scream 5 would call it. But there's just too much goodness. I really like the action sequences. The whole third act's taking place in this big old gigantic downtown Disney-esque environment. It pretty much brings you the best of both worlds from both climaxes from Jurassic Parks 1 and 2. And it's like a combination of that, and I think it works really, really well. Speaking of works really well, Chris Pratt in this film is just so damn likable. I love the idea of him being a trainer of velociraptors. These were the animals that fascinated Alan Grant back in 1993, and here Chris Pratt is understanding them, here he is training them, and those training sequences when you're first introduced to Chris Pratt's character are so damn fun. Don't give me that shit. It's roles like this that really play to Chris Pratt's strengths. He can be a badass, but he can also be a smartass. And this was his next big project just after the popularity of Guardians of the Galaxy was gaining steam. And I think he builds on that momentum just fine here. I think he was stellar in this film, probably the strongest actor out of everybody. Bryce Dallas Howard, on the other hand, was a bit hit or miss for me when I first watched this in the theater. I mean, this is a character who's a workaholic who doesn't really have time for her young nephews, one of whom is played by Nick Robinson, who would go on to do Love, Simon a couple years after this. And that's basically your heart and soul of the film. Not nearly as interesting as the love angle that we got in The Lost World, or even from the character dynamic in the first film. But I gotta say, number one, props to the screenwriters for including a Zack character in this. But Zack and Gray, you bought that they were brothers. You bought that they had some family issues going on. you bought that there was something wrong there. And I loved seeing the arc of them eventually coming together, jumping off of that cliff to escape the Indominus Rex and into that river there. Actually, no, that wasn't a river, was it? They would be dead if they jumped into a river. But you get what I'm saying here. These two guys I thought were really, really good here. Vincent D'Onofrio is our main antagonist. He was just so over the top, like, oh, that guy. Vincent D'Onofrio is the kind of actor that can turn shit into gold. And granted, this character's motivation is not very strong. He's all about the money. But you know what? He is selling this like it's the end of the world, and he is having a blast being in a Jurassic Park film. Gotta give a special shout out to the late great Irrfan Khan, who is like the Tom Cruise of India, incredibly famous. May that man rest in peace. He was such a brilliant actor. This is a movie that I feel like showcased his talents a lot better than the original Amazing Spider-Man film did. And on this rewatch, I was sitting there and I was like, oh my god, Irrfan Khan's in this. I completely forgot about that. And I think his character was very well realized as well. Jurassic World doesn't have as many character choice issues as its sequel has, which we'll get to. Once the Indominus Rex is let loose, Chris Pratt is showing no nonsense here. He wants to get these people off of the island as safe as possible. He wants to put this dinosaur down. And that's what a Jurassic Park movie should be. He's not going around and being like, oh, I'm gonna save the Indominus Rex from all these hungry beings who are looking to see him. I'm getting into that rant too early. I'm gonna wait till next week for that. But overall, I think the way Jurassic World, the theme park, is presented may be the film's strongest point. I love the fact that these two brothers can go to like this feeding for this gigantic whale-style dinosaur. I forget what they call it, but it's almost like SeaWorld in a way. A futuristic SeaWorld in a way, which is a really, really neat idea. And yeah, you can still sense the danger there because these are freaking dinosaurs, for crying out loud, and they want to eat you. But yeah, this is also a film that retains the wonderment of the original film that Steven Spielberg was going for. The scene where Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard go to tend to those fallen brontosauri is just such a sweet moment. It really harkened back to when Ellie Sattler was tending to the sick Triceratops in the original film. And that brings me to my big issue overall with Jurassic World. Even though I do still have fun with it and I go back to rewatch it every now and then, admittedly, this is a movie that I feel like tends to rely too much on the nostalgia. In the mid-2010s, we were getting so many legacy films, and this was one of the first among a big series of them. The Force Awakens would join in, we would get Halloween in 2018, and I feel like a big disadvantage of Jurassic World is that this is the first of many legacy-style films. This film had a huge obstacle in relying too much on the original film's nostalgia to really propel the news characters over the top. And yeah, the movie does pay glowing tribute to the original film, but unlike something like Force Awakens, I feel like this movie had a huge missed opportunity to focus a little bit more on the new characters. I wanted more out of Claire. I wanted more out of these kids. I wanted more out of Irrfan Khan. But instead, you have scenes like where the two brothers come across the original atrium of Jurassic Park, which has been completely covered in jungle by this point. And it's almost like they walk into a gigantic pile of, hey guys, remember this? Remember that from the movie you liked 22 years ago? Us too. And yeah, there are plenty of instances like that in this film. But you know what? I have too much fun with it to really care. I really dug Jurassic World the first time around watching it in the theater. I really dug it on the rewatch. I'm going to give Jurassic World a B. Definitely is not a perfect film by any stretch. There are a couple of big Spielberg-style cliches that are thrown into the mix here and there. And it's a legacy movie that I feel is too reliant on the success of the original film for its own success. But you have some certain potential with characters like Owen Grady, not to mention a super likable performance from Chris Pratt and some super competent direction from Colin Trevaro. I feel like this really propels this movie over the top. And not to mention, I didn't even mention Michael Giacchino and his additions to John Williams' iconic theme. So perfect. And I think this really captured the essence of what a Jurassic Park movie should be. Even though it does have a few missed opportunities, Jurassic World was certainly a step in the right direction. Fallen Kingdom, on the other hand, oh, but that's a video for next week. But till then, let me know what you think of Jurassic World all down there in the nifty comments section below. Let me know what your favorite legacy movie of all time is, as it were. I love discussing all brand new things geeky, all things entertainment in the movies with you guys. This is a great community we're building over here to spark this discussion. So If you're new here, please feel free to join the party. Smash that subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it as hard as you possibly can. And feel free to hit that like button on your way out. All these things are tremendously helpful to the success of this channel and this community, my friends. And I've got a lot more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. Expect a review/rant on Fallen Kingdom around this point next week. And I cannot wait to see Top Gun Maverick in theaters this weekend. I am getting so hyped for it. You have no idea. That's a legacy movie in and of itself, my friends. But guys, lots of things that we can look forward to discussing together. With all that being said, back talk, commence!